Good day, everyone. This is Pineleaf Mules, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Everything's right here. Are you all getting ready for the big day?
We are indeed. Stradvent is going well. All Hallows Eve is approaching. The village kids are waiting for their handouts. They're not going to like what they're going to get from me this year.
Oh, they're not. All right. I don't want to think about what they're going to get.
Probably not.
No, and please welcome our special guest for tonight, Patrick from DDO Cast.
Hello.
Hello, Patrick. And are you all excited for Stradvent?
How could you not be excited for Stradvent? Oh, that hurts me deeply, Patrick.
Like a stake through the heart.
I have no historical connection to Ravenloft, so
I see. Yeah, that wouldn't make a difference.
It's just new content to me. We were always too cheap to buy modules, and we were always pretty good at making our own fun modules, so we just kind of never did.
Then let's head into our news for this week, and we'll begin with the Update 36 Patch 4 release notes. And what did we get with this update?
It was to fix some Night Revel stuff, but they also got some other stuff in. There was some class work done. The Cleric War Domain will now properly grant proficiency with exotic weapons. They also fixed an issue where the Cleric War Domain was improperly displaying a non-proficient icon with the martial weapons.
How much you want to bet that how many more times this comes up in the next couple of years?
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure they're going to be dealing with it this a lot, but I guess we'll see. And because I bet every time they do something to the cleric, that's going to break again.
Oh,
it seems like one of those things that would break like every year on the year kind of a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope for their sake, no, but I guess we'll see. Also, in the Epic Destinies, the Primal Avatar's balanced attacks will now work properly when you are dual-wielding daggers with the Vistani knife fighting. I'm sure lots of people are happy to hear that if they were playing with the Vistani knife fighting tree. And as I said, we did get some Night Rebels fixes. They did say they were going to try to get these in while the event was still running this year, and it looks like they succeeded. Some ingredients now will no longer incorrectly state that they will expire at the end of 2016.
Which they didn't in the first place.
Exactly. But it's good because I was wondering, I'm like, man, how am I going to get a time machine and go back to 2016? But yeah.
Well, I made my new ones, and I was like, oh, look, it says that they'll expire at the end of 2016. Oops.
Oops. Sorry about that. And then Resurrection Chamber. They did a lot of work for that dungeon. Rewards have been adjusted so that the challenge will now grant all Night Rebels ingredients upon completion of the dungeon. Named monsters that grant a star will no longer spawn before their objectives appear. And then a rest shrine was added at the bottom of the long descent. And I say thank you for that because I use that right after the patch. So thank you for putting that rest shrine there and a rest shrine because I, spoiler alert for This Week in DDO, I ran that this week and forgot I didn't have Featherfall and I kind of died when I hit the bottom. So the shrines were put to good use. And that's it for the Night Rebels. And then we did get some quest and adventure areas. Reapers no longer spawn in the Giant Hold Tour optional dragon and giant boss fights.
People were abusing that?
I'm guessing yes, but I don't know for sure. The way I know, I was watching the playback. I wasn't watching it live, but I watched the playback of the weekly Wednesday live stream with Cordovan, and the way he kind of said it, I assumed yes, people were kind of using that to their advantage, and that was not working as intended.
Okay.
They have also corrected an issue where certain abilities were leaving detection objects in an instant and not decaying properly. These abilities include Colors of the Queen, Rainbow, Double Rainbow, Insidious Spores, Autumn Harvest, Judgment, Judge the Many, every light casts a shadow, and shadows cannot exist without light. And I think if I understand that, that was causing some lag because even though you exited the dungeon, the effects of those were still in the dungeon, and it was like the instance was still open, if I understand it correctly. Do you know, Patrick, if that's exactly what they fixed with that?
I don't know if I really understood what it was in the first place. Yeah, sorry, you're talking about the one that was like I'm playing right now, so I was only half paying attention.
Yeah, that's fine.
We were lagging out, and I was waiting to die. So,
hey,
you're talking about the one that was something about persistent things.
Yes.
Yeah, that was above my computer pay grade.
Yeah, well, mine too. But from what I kind of gathered from reading a couple responses on the forum to it, I think it just means basically that stuff was staying in the instance even though you exited the instance, and that instance was still technically, quote, open. And then when somebody else ran that dungeon, it was having to create a new instance, and it was just causing some compound lag, I assume. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments for the show, but I think that's what that meant. And then ASMR got some little touches here and there. You can read them. There's a ton of them. I'm not going to go through all of it, but click on the notes in the show note, and you can read all what the ASMR got. And that was our patch.
Yeah, it looks like you're talking about ASMR. Then at the very end, halfling.
Yeah. I wondered that too, and I'm like, okay then. Maybe there's a halfling ASMR. I don't know. We don't. Some kind of weird hybrid that I don't want to know how it was created, but anyway.
Well,
that's for another.
Aren't ASMR sort of half celestial or something like that?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So what if that half celestial was? What if the mortal half was halfling instead of human?
Then you'd have a real tiny ASMR, I guess.
I thought ASMR were their own race. They're not a half.
Well, it probably depends. I guess we have to see what it technically is.
But they were the counterpart to tieflings.
Well, yeah. Okay, now we're getting technical.
Bonnie B said you would have an assling then.
I think it's time to take a look at Ravenloft. In this case, DDO Cast took a look at the Ravenloft's pre-purchase breakdown crunch tables. And Patrick, what's this all about?
So I did this with the other, or with Shadowfell. I think I did it with Menace in the Dark, but I couldn't find the file. Basically what it is it's each of the options you can take, and then it breaks it down by points. So what is each thing worth in points? And then from there, it basically is, the whole goal is to get to this point of being in a place where you can say, this is at this many points per dollar is what you're getting for what you're for what you're paying. So it kind of breaks it all down. There's a bunch of different charts. Like there's standard, collectors, and ultimate charts. And it just says, okay, you're paying this much less the amount for whatever VIP subscription you're getting. Here's all the things broken down by points. So you can see how many points each thing is worth. And then it kind of boils it down to, you're spending this much money and this is how much value you're getting out of it.
And I put the link in chat so people can check it out while you're talking about it, because it is amazing the work you did, and it gets really crunchy.
I mean, sure. It's not that crunchy. I've done
no, I was going to say, for you, it's not quite as crunchy as I think you could have made it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you are the king of crunch.
Captain Crunch?
I mean, my weapon comparisons blog, like how to compare two weapons damage, only took me 17 blog posts to do. But yeah, so this one, there's some things that kind of jump out. One is that VIP get a less good deal, but there's also some assumptions being made too. So when I was pricing things out, right, like so the collectors and ultimate come with VIP subscriptions or trial or whatever you want to call it, game codes for such and such days of VIP. And I took that kind of as face value of what you could get from the marketplace. For VIPs, I kind of assumed, well, okay, let's say you're paying $10 a month, which is, I think, kind of a standard. I think you can get $99 for a year, but $10 a month kind of seemed to be a good number to work with. But then the VIPs also get ASMR, so I took that out of the calculations, so they get fewer points per dollar because they're actually getting less value out of the pack, if that makes sense. So that's one thing that kind of jumps out. The other thing is, I know a lot of people have been saying that aren't really happy with the price and what you're getting. I compared it to the Shadowfell Collector's Edition, which was a $50 pack, and what you got out of that. And the end result was Shadowfell, we got approximately 286 points per dollar, assuming 5 characters and some, making some choices about how much like the cosmetics would quote cost because they're not in the store, kind of a thing. And with the with Ravenloft, a VIP based on the calculations I did is only getting about 150 points per dollar, and a non-VIP is getting about 180 points per dollar. So it's considerably less than Shadowfell. Although even that isn't really a good, necessarily a straight comparison, because there's certain things like you have to consider that with Shadowfell, those numbers don't even include the content, where they do for Ravenloft.
Right, yeah.
So that's kind of one big thing, which actually makes it look even worse for Ravenloft. On the other side, Ravenloft, you get a copy of the cosmetics on each character, which, because they were bound to character, I kind of made this choice where I'm going to only price it as though you got it once. So you could kind of make an argument that you're getting more value there and stuff like that. And it's also, a lot of this stuff you can't get anywhere else. This is the only place you're going to get it. So it's easy to try and make a comparison to what Shadowfell was and what Ravenloft is and how many points you're getting there, but it's not really that's a really oversimplification. So I don't want people to fall into quite that kind of a trap, if that makes sense. And the whole point of these charts were to say is to help people make a decision on which pack they want to buy. So what kind of things are you looking for? What matters to you? Like, if you don't care about the cosmetics, you could look at the chart and say, okay, well, I can just subtract this amount from. You can set up your own table. You can subtract that amount from the different tables and figure out how much you're getting if you don't care about that, or you don't care about Vistani Knife Fighter or that kind of a thing.
Gumsking in the chat is saying it just shows how wrong some assumptions are if you like all of the things.
Yeah, and that's kind of the other thing too, right?
Too.
Like, if you like it, if you really want to get it, then this probably isn't going to, shouldn't be persuading you to not. And of course, we don't know what the content is, how good the content's going to be, right?
Right,
so.
Exactly. I think that's the big if about all of this is, if the dungeons aren't going to be great, if the raid is not going to be good, then, okay, we can come back and talk about this. Okay, I paid X amount of money for this, and this is horrible. God forbid that happens. But, and Ninepon is saying, good job on this. He wishes somebody would have done something like this, similar with Lotro.
I don't play Lotro, so...
Yeah. It's like, get on that, Patrick. But yeah, I can't imagine how long this took you, though, because this is, like I said, this is really...
Give or take. I mean, I was kind of playing DDO at the same time, so... But, it's just Excel. It's just some time in Excel and plugging things in and creating formulas.
So what made you come up with the idea to actually do this? Did you just want to, do a post, or were you just taking, all the big controversy that we had swirling the prices, and you were just saying, okay, look, this is what you get, this is what you're paying?
No, I did this for Shadowfell Conspiracy too. I updated the chart that I used from that to kind of follow the same quote rules. Because in Shadowfell, when I did it, I kind of took this is how many characters, because there's some stuff there that's like per character. So when I did Shadowfell, I took, okay, what account are you, and this is how many characters you have, so you get this many of that copy. This time I said, okay, let's assume that you have 5 characters, as opposed to just having a completely, whatever number of characters. It seemed like it made more sense that way, especially since it seems like people tend to play that way a little bit more right now than just having like 15, 20 characters. I know more people have more characters, and I actually include charts on how to add however many characters. You can see how many more points per dollar you're getting and stuff like that. But it wasn't because of the controversy or anything. Although I think it is kind of it kind of supports that, if anything. But it was just because I had done it before, and I think it can help people to look at things in that way and say, okay, how much money am I spending? What am I getting for it? Break it down a little bit more.
Yeah, it does actually put it out there more, and you can, I think, make a better decision based on this versus just, the text you see in the ad for it. So that I can see how it would help people, and Ninth Pond is saying he hasn't bought a DDO pack yet, but this is definitely going to help him make a decision.
That's good. So, that's the whole point.
So you did good, Patrick. You did good.
Also, it's not really costly for me in terms of time. So it's not. I just have to find time to do it and pull all the numbers. That's really where the work is. So.
Not costly on time, but you had to find time.
Well, I had to set aside. Last week was crazy. It just kind of was. But I just needed to find time that I could kind of spend on doing it. But it's not a lot of time.
Okay.
Still need time to do it, but...
Anything else to add before we continue?
I don't think so, unless you guys have any questions about it.
Then I should go and find out what's in store for the second week of Stradvent.
Stradvent, the season in which we await the advent of Count Strad von Zarovich in the midst of Ravenloft and palpable misery in between picking up the kiddies from soccer practice. It is little known that we have soccer in Barovia. Only we call it football because the ball is a dismembered foot. Barovians are not a sporty people. Greetings, listeners. I am Madame Eva, fortune teller and daughter of the Vestani. I'm also knitting an ironic festival sweater for my scarecrow companion, since we are expecting so many guests from Eberron. I want you to feel at home before you die. Welcome to Barovia! In this second week of Stradvent, I am here to tell your fortune. I can see your future with my tarot deck. The future, it is so bright. I must wear the shades. That is music reference. Pine Leaf, he won't get it. The first card of your reading tonight is the Eight of Stars. The Necromancer. You're going to eat too much candy. Snack size doesn't mean eat 20. Put the treats down. The second card is the Warrior. There's a lot of blood on your armor. Get it repaired before it breaks. You always wait at the last minute and it breaks and you're sorry. The third card is the Torturer. This may signify Strahd's merciless consumption of your free will amidst your futile screaming. Or you may just need to do some laundry. I see a lack of socks. The fourth card is the high card of the Dark Lord. Someone is going to watch a Star Wars movie. And the fifth and final card is the Tempter. You're still eating the candy. You need to put the bag down. Tight pants are not in this season. There you go! You have survived the second reading! Be wary of the signs until next week when Stradvent brings you ever closer to your demise.
It's a music reference, finally. You won't get it.
Apparently not.
Oh, Madam Ava, I tell ya.
I think it's time to look at some wallpaper. In this case, we are talking about some Strahd DDO wallpaper that is now available.
Yes, this was so exciting when I seen they did this, and then when I saw that they did a little nod to the classic I6 cover, I was even more excited. So I have put the link in the show notes to this. You can go over on Standing Stone's site, well, basically DDO.com, and you can download some Strahd wallpaper because everybody needs Strahd on their wallpaper. And there's several sizes available. You can get the ultra wide, which is 3440 by 1400, widescreen 16 by 9, a regular 4x3 for regular old monitors. If anybody has a 4x3 monitor, I'm sorry. And then a mobile and a vertical, which is 1080 by 1920. But what this is it's a subtle reference to the classic I6 cover by Claude Kidwell, where Strahd is standing on the deck of Castle Ravenloft, and you can kind of see Castle Ravenloft behind him, and his cape is like flowing in the wind, and you can so it's awesome. I love that they chose to do this. So good job, great wallpaper, and everybody needs to Strahdify their desktops. See, I just created a new word, Strahdify.
Strahdify.
I have a question.
Sure.
Who is Strahd, and why do I want him on my desktop?
I don't even know how to respond to that. I was trying to think of some smart-ass answer for that, but I can't think of any.
Now, if we could just get ultra wide for 32 by 9 monitors.
Yeah, 3440 by 1400. I bet you could probably stretch that and make it work.
What it does for me is it crops it does a little bit of cropping, and stretching is done automatically by Windows on it. So I lose the part where it says D&D Online on it.
Oh, well, see, of course, that's the most important part.
Well, I would think that
I would think Standing Stone would rather you have that on your desktop than Strahd itself, but hey. But yeah,
and
so check that out.
As for 4x3, we have a customer who put in a bug report last week complaining that we are not able to fit their 3 columns of data that they want to see on their 1024 by 768 monitor.
Did you just email them back? It's time for an upgrade. Thank you very much.
When the customer is Union Pacific, you don't say that.
Okay, I will give you that.
You gotta note that Union Pacific is noted for buying equipment that could survive locomotives and power treatment more likely than getting things that are necessarily cutting edge.
Apparently, they buy really good 4x3 monitors.
Well,
back in like the 80s.
They're laptops with 4x3.
Oh, okay. Good
4x3
grief.
screens.
That's insane.
That's insane. That is right. Let's head into our DDO Chronicle, which I'm sure is going to have skeletons on it.
Yeah, see, they mixed it up this week. You were expecting something Strahd or Ravenloft, weren't you? But no,
yeah.
They put the Night Rebels on the cover. That's a cool shot of skeleton.
I suppose there's some logic to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But see, they just trolled everybody because they're like, everybody's going to expect Ravenloft on this. We're putting Night Rebels. We'll show them. In the community spotlight of our Chronicle, Voodoo Spice is bringing the dance. He showed off the new ASMR dances for both the male and the female characters. And I must applaud the animators that did the female dance.
Yeah, the female ones are definitely better than the male.
They are, and I'm not going to spoil what it is. Just watch the video. The female dances are amazing. But yeah, the male dances, I'm not quite sure what they were thinking with those, but definitely a good job on those. Edric is asking a very important question for this time of the year. Who controls the Night Rebels? So click over and read that blog post from Edric. And Nerdarchy is delving into the Ravenloft pre-purchase. So click over and get a look at what Nerdarchy thought of the Ravenloft pre-purchase. The fan site news section, DDOcast had their latest episode featuring Ravenloft, VIP, and more. So click over and watch or listen to that. And I just listened to that today, as a matter of fact.
The tag is actually less accurate than he usually has them. It's not really VIP as much as it was like VIP, what VIP Plus could look like.
Yeah, I was going to say you were actually kind of speculating on, okay, if they would add VIP Plus, what would we get for that? There was some really good ideas that were brought up for that too. So good job on that.
Actually, a lot of the listeners came up with some good ideas too, which we talked about on the show that I'm working on posting today, that I posted yesterday, or that we did live yesterday.
And then don't forget, Backlagor is still playing, and he went into the Night Rebels, as I think a lot of people did this week. So click over and check that out. Evenote was running House K Lobby quests and more in the latest Streamin' with Even. You can check that out as well. Strim Tom is known for his builds, and he's making another build because that's what Strim Tom does. So click over and check out the latest from him. And a very bad guild enjoys the cake. I have not watched it yet, so I don't know what that's in reference to. I'm going to have to watch it, but I love watching a very bad guild.
So this cake is not a lie then?
I'm guessing not. I don't know.
Okay.
And then, of course, we have our Chronicle comment for the week. If you wore armor made of pumpkins, what would the stats be?
Terrible.
I was going to say that it's toughness. In other words, ability, how often you need to repair it, is going to be very, very poor.
How do you repair it? Do you have to, get more pumpkins?
We'll have to call it Humpty Dumpty armor.
Gumps Gang is saying +5 spice and immunity to respectability.
Pretty good.
That's a good answer. Yeah, exactly. You do win, Gumps Gang. That's a good answer. And Bonnie B stole my answer, and that is just squishy and stinky, probably. Yeah, yucky, but why would you want a pumpkin made of armor? That's just why.
Well, if you have a fairy godmother, it might turn into really good armor until midnight.
Oh, see, I didn't even think about that, but oh, yeah. And then we have our screenshot of the week, which is a pretty cool little screenshot because they captured it just right in a mid-dance, and that is Syndrus is the Night Rebeler. It's a hard word to say, in the 339th DDO screenshot of the week. So that is a great screenshot. I like that. Like I said, they kind of captured the dance just right, and they kind of framed themselves in with the moon as well, too. So it's kind of a nice spooky shot from the Delirious Graveyard. So good job on that screenshot. And that is our Chronicle.
Then let's go and see what is on sale. Anything exciting?
We've got 25% off Astral Shards, Guild Renowned Elixirs. We have 50% off the Guild Charters and the Guild Airship Beacons. And, of course, we have our free sample of the week running through November the 2nd, which is going to be a long-lasting potion of jumping. You will get 5 of those, and that is plus 20 to your jump with the coupon code LEAPINGFUN. LEPINGFUN. Leaping Fun.
Then let's head into our site news, and we are going to look at a poll. And it looks like we have a lot of responses to this poll also.
We did. It's been a while since we had this many responses to a poll and this many votes on a poll. We had 182 total votes. And of course, the question was, which everybody should have seen coming, is which Mist of Ravenloft package did you or are you going to buy? And as I said, 182 total voters, so that is amazing. I would have to look back at our other polls, but I do believe that is probably the most amount of votes we have ever gotten on a poll, I think. But it was pretty close, actually, too. The number one answer with 28% of the votes were I'm waiting for March to buy it for DDO points. A very close second at 24% was I bought the Ultimate Fan Bundle. 13% is I plan on purchasing the Ultimate Fan Bundle. And 13% also is I don't plan on purchasing the expansion at all. 12% is I plan on purchasing the standard edition. 7% of the people voted say they plan on purchasing the collector's edition. And then 2% bought the standard, 1% bought the collector's, and 1%, of course, was the what's the Mist of Ravenloft? There's always one person. There's always one person.
Now, I notice here that it looks like people are either going for the low end or the high end. The least popular is the middle.
That was kind of interesting to me to see that. And if you look at some of the responses that we got as well, you can really see that in the responses. And I know on the servers that I play on, you can kind of tell what people did judging by what cosmetics they're wearing too, or what pet they have out. So that's been kind of interesting the past couple of days. And it's like, okay, there's another raven, there's a cat, so it's like, yeah. But yeah, we did have, what's that?
Another aristocrat?
Yeah. That's lots of vampire hunter outfits running around though. So guess that's a good thing because that's the big package. But we did have a ton of responses to this. I just pulled out a few of them. Questilon, sorry, I probably butchered your name, said, I purchased the Ultimate Fan Pack. I am disappointed with the cost of value as is. It's overpriced. The Ultimate Fan Pack should have, at the very least, included DDO store points. Ideally, the Ultimate Fan Pack should have included an auto stone giving you the option of heroic or epic XP. And I can agree with that as well, as we talked about that last week as well. If you listened to the show, you heard my thoughts on that.
And Joel said, I will sadly wait for March to buy it for DDO points I already have. The Ultimate Collector Pack offers almost nothing interesting, and getting the standard edition would mean that I pay $40 for something I will get for no additional cost in March. What a wasted opportunity to make money and create goodwill.
Lori Lavelle said, honestly, not sure yet. I kind of want the Ultimate Pack, but the date is real close to my VIP renewal date, so that makes my cost between here and Christmas $228. Far more than I was ready for.
It's not entirely true because you could use the game code to push that date farther.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's one plan on it. And how many days is that code for?
30 or 60, depending on which one you get.
Yeah, 60 is in the Ultimate, and the Collector's is 30.
60 and 30. Yes. So, yeah, if it's coming up, then it might not be able to push it past Christmas with only a 30. Lewis, I totally agree with all the players that are saying loud and clear that the Ultimate Bundle is overpriced comparing with other expansions. I always have acquired the biggest bundle with each expansion except this one, and I am disappointed with the situation. I want to support the game, as I always have done, but this bundle, shucks, even if give me the impression that SSG is teasing us, which even enraged me further. It includes a lot of things without real value to players because you'll be able to obtain them later with favor or with DDO points. Race, Iconic, Destiny Tree. As you say, it missed the real thing players value the most, with which DDO points or Autos boxes, or even other enhancements to Bank and Reincarnation Cash. I don't really understand what is the state strategy of SSG, but it is clearly a misunderstanding what their players want. There is one big maximum in sales, market value, which means customers will receive the value of your product, which can be a competitive low price, a lot of features, unique features, etc., and clearly you need to listen to your customers and see what they expect. None of this is in the Ultimate Bundle. Not to say that a pre-purchase without even a preview of the expansion, so it's blind purchase for their customers, should be accompanied with an extra gift. In my opinion, SSG must change their sales strategy. If not, they will continue to lose players and at the end will close. But who knows, maybe that is their strategy. Stress their milky cow till starvation.
That's just one really specific way of putting it, but okay.
Yeah.
Rokagan, I was really willing to buy the collector's bundle to support the game, but I'm not paying such a steep price for a bundle filled with cosmetics and shards. When I compare the Ravenloft $130 edition with Motu's collector's edition at $80, it becomes very clear that this is a ripoff and a complete disappointment. I was expecting SSG, as a new studio, to take better care of its customers than Turbine/WB did in the past. Nope. It actually got worse. I'm not against cosmetics as accessories, but if a game wants to attract new players, greatly needed player base is really low. The devs should focus on bringing great quality content to the game, taking into account that this pack includes only 12 quests, 1 week of new content, then repeat, and 1 raid, maybe 3 months of life if you can find an LFM. The price certainly looks super high. You could go buy the... Oh, go ahead.
There's a lot of stuff that he said there that isn't necessarily on Ravenloft. Like 12 quests, 1 week of content, and a raid. What do you say? Three weeks of a raid or something like that.
3 months of life if you can find an elephant. Yeah,
I mean,
was like,
there's a lot of things that go into that. That's not really necessarily about the content, right? Or the expansion pack pricing. But.
Right, because, personally, I'm going to spend more than a week running the quest because, I'll do it on several characters. So I guess if you only run it on one character, and I don't know how he's judging he can get through all 12 quests in a week, but okay, I guess if he just...
Well, I'm guessing he's going to hit it really hard. If you hit it really hard and fast and get what you want, don't ever go back there again, sure. But how is that different than in any other content
exactly.
packs?
It's not. Yeah,
so.
Yeah. And then he says you can go over on Steam and buy The Witcher 3 for about $20, and that includes 200 to 350 hours of the best RPG content you can possibly enjoy nowadays, with a technical level which is 2 light years above DDO. I love DDO because I freaking love D&D. This is not the turnaround we were hoping from SSG. I want to support the game, but I don't want to pay for smoke. Yeah, there was a lot in that I disagreed with, but I just wanted to put that in because that was, pretty much if you go on the forums, that's basically what you got to read on the forums. That's what most people feel.
Well, and if you're excited about it, you're not going to gripe on the forums about it. So
right.
Well, there is that.
Yeah, and it always seems like the people that are the most vocal are the ones that don't like it. And that's why everybody thinks, oh, see, everybody hates this because they're all bitching. Well, no, they're just the ones that bitch the loudest, I guess.
And Quijan said, bought the Ultimate Bundle after staring at a spreadsheet and trying to assess what the bundles were really worth to me. And then, of course, there is
I included the link. It's a really long link. It's in the show notes.
Yes, there is a link in the show notes. I decided to continue supporting the game as always, but I'm not impressed with the value of the Ultimate Bundle from a purely personal perspective. Hopefully lessons can be learned from this expansion.
I think Gums Gang summed it up the greatest in the chat right now, and he says, MMO devs cannot win no matter what they do.
True.
Yep.
Well, there's a point on that.
That's what it boils down to.
So there's a couple of things that just generically to what people are saying, and some part of I didn't really talk about when I pulled out the chart and stuff like that. But if you look at how many points you're getting per dollar, you are getting more value than if you just went and bought points, even at the highest bundle, and it costs less, right? Because the 200 point bundle I think comes out to 100 some odd points per dollar. I thought I put it in there, but I think when I re-edited, I accidentally took it out. But it's it's not like it's a terrible value in the sense that if you went and just bought the $200 point bundle, you would actually get less points per dollar than what you're getting based on the calculations I did and all the assumptions I made and yada, 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 yada. You're getting a better value than buying Ravenloft than you are just going and buying points generically. Having said that, I get that people don't want to spend $130. I actually really liked what they did with Shadowfell, where they had the two tiers, and then they had a bundle that you could buy with either tier. They got kind of more of the fun goodies, like the cosmetics and that kind of stuff, which they didn't do with this.
But, and like I said last week, too, nobody is forcing you to buy the 2 upper tier packages. You can still get Ravenloft for $40.
Yeah.
And in fact, what were the prices on Shadowfell?
I think the collector's edition was like $30. Hang on, I can look this up. I think I know where I hit it. Opening a file.
Night Fun in the chat is saying, oh, go ahead.
The collector's edition was $50. The standard pack was $30. And then the legendary upgrade was $50.
All right. But
which I did not include. I don't think I included that. Although I think it was at the time, based on like what I calculated and the file that I'm looking at. I think if you purchased it at the time, you got 20% off of the legendary pack upgrade. But I'm not entirely positive on that. But that's what I was saying. Like they had that weird thing. They had that upgrade that you get. But I mean, if you look at that, it was $100 if you got all the stuff, or $80 if you got just the base version.
Okay. I find in the chat saying, I don't understand getting angry because you don't like the value of the content. I like Nike, or I think Nike sneakers are a ripoff, and I don't buy them, but I haven't written Nike a single angry letter.
It's Nike.
Oh, sorry, Nike. Sorry. Yes. But yeah, he raises a valid point.
I mean, it's all based on what you want, right? Like, if you look at the different bundles for Ravenloft, there's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a lot of different. And actually, from a marketing standpoint, they did a pretty good job, I think, of making you want to buy the upper tier. Like, there's almost nothing in the lowest tier, right, other than the content and ASMR.
Of course, the content and ASMR are probably the most important parts. So therefore, and I would think that if you're on a budget, that's when you should get.
Right, exactly. Because, I mean, let's just call a spade and be honest about it. The other two packages are nothing but fluff.
Yeah, fluff.
Well, Vistani's in the second one.
Well, that's true. I guess I did. And I guess in the Ultimate Fan Pack, you get the Iconic. So,
all right.
But, I mean, if you look at what they have, I mean, it's pretty compelling to want to get the upper tier because of what they have there compared to everything else, right? Like the iconic is only there. The legendary scarecrow is only there. The cosmetics look pretty darn spiffy. The racial action point tome is for every character is there. That's pretty nice. There's the extra shared storage is there, and presumably you will only be able to get those 10 slots if you buy the pack and buy that thing. The other thing we didn't really talk about is and again, this goes back to some assumptions and some comparisons that aren't really necessarily fair to make, because Shadowfell, a lot of that stuff you could only get with pre-purchase. And if you didn't pre-purchase it, same with Mercy in the Dark, if you didn't pre-purchase it, you didn't get that stuff, right? Whereas this one, it's always going to be available, or presumably always going to be available. So
yeah, and
you would
I think
kind of assume based on that they're going to be you're going to be getting less value than you did with the other packs.
And they have made that pretty clear that, yes, this will be available even after the expansion was out. You can still get the Ultimate Fan Pack and get all of the goodies, all the stuff. And just like, anybody that bought it the first day, pre-orders, well, see, it's not really a pre-order. It's just a pre-purchase, I guess. I'm not sure what you call it. But anyway, you get the stuff, and a lot of the stuff you get now, you can use it now. You can play with Vistani now. You can play with the ASMR now. You can wear the cosmetics now. And then just when they flip the switch in December for Ravenloft, you'll get Ravenloft then. So if you want to wait, save your money. You have until December 5th. So maybe you'll, get some money between now and December 5th. And you can order it December 4th and get it. So,
Or if you want, you could wait till March.
That's true. Just wait and buy it in the DDO store in March.
I'm sure there's some people in Lotro who are waiting for December to...
buy Mordor in the store?
Yeah, to buy Mordor in the store.
Yeah, because, another thing, we didn't even talk about is the Mordor expansion had the exact same price as this. And I'm sure there was the same reaction to that. I didn't really go on the forums and look.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's why I kind of, when Mordor came out, I put that price up. Is this Ravenloft pricing? And I was like, pretty sure this is what we're going to see when they ever announce the pricing for Ravenloft. So prepare yourself now. And apparently people did not prepare themselves now.
Either that or the ones who are complaining aren't the same ones who read the article. Patrick, is there anything you wish to plug or talk about concerning DDO Cast or DDO Splat or...
We're going to do one more DDO Splat tomorrow. We'll do Night Revels for Halloween, and then we're going to take a break so we can not have to worry about squeezing this into our schedules, or I can not have to worry about squeezing it into my schedule during the holidays. And December is kind of one of my busiest months as well. But then we'll be back with that, and we've pretty much decided we're going to start probably at level 15, and we're kind of talking about what else we want to do for the next, quote, season of DDO Splat. But it'll be something fun. We'll be challenging ourselves. We'll be actively trying to kill ourselves without trying to kill ourselves, or without getting killed.
I was going to say, do you want to explain the whole premise behind DDO Splat for if anybody hasn't watched it yet? Which, if you haven't, you should. It's a fun watch.
Well, it started as a permadeath thing. So we were playing permadeath, and at the same time, we weren't exactly a group that was very good about playing permadeath, in the sense that we like to challenge ourselves. Our most common tactic is to split the party up.
One of those.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty normal for me to go one direction and everyone else to go the other direction. Not me necessarily going away from them, but they would go the direction I didn't go when I was in front. And we ended up, so we were playing permadeath, and that was a lot of fun. But we, as you can imagine, with that play style, and we were, always doing it on a lead, and we were challenging ourselves at the same time, kind of having fun with it. But we died a lot, so we had to restart a few times. And then this season, instead of doing permadeath, we were just kind of doing Reaper and really challenging ourselves and kind of pushing the envelope of not necessarily what anyone can do, but we're kind of all playing characters that are not exactly well geared, or they're not 10 years old and have a lot of goodies on them, as it were. So
basically, how Pineleaf and I play all the time.
No, because we're still playing on Reaper. Last week we did try to do Demon Queen, the raid, 6-man on Reaper 3. But so it's the idea is we're having fun, but we're also really challenging ourselves. And like I said, we actively try to kill ourselves without getting killed. So it's a little bit of a weird dynamic, but it's a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll be back in January, do more of that. And then DDO Cast, getting close to 500 episodes, which is going to be pretty exciting.
That is amazing.
I should probably figure out what that's going to look like. But right now we're doing. I've got a series going on where we're talking about leveling, and I kind of got it broken down into 3 levels at a time. We're kind of going through and saying here, looking at the quest, those levels, and which ones we like for leveling, which ones maybe we don't like. Just kind of running down through those, and that's kind of going every other week. And we just did 13 to 15. Should hopefully be posted tonight whenever we're done with this. So,
how many of those 500 have you done? Because I know you've been hosting for a long time now.
So I took over as producer and host on episode 300, 301. So 500 would be my 200th episode produced, but I've also, as opposed to not having a cast on some weekends, I have, if I know there's a weekend coming up that I can kind of plan ahead on, as opposed to one where I, just kind of get to Wednesday and I don't have a show together, and oh man, look at this weekend, is going to be really busy and just not have a show. I've had Jerry and the Damsels have guest hosted for me a few times, so I'm slightly. 500 will be slightly under 200 episodes hosted for me, but it'll be 200 produced.
still, that is like amazing, and just the fact that it's been around through all the different hosts, and it's still going strong, and it's at almost the 500th episode is awesome. So congrats to you on the part that you played for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of other people that have had a big part in that. It's, Jerry started it, and Sega Ann kept it going for about 120 episodes as well. And there's all the people who have contributed with segments and stuff over the years. And all the guests that I have on the show. So it's, it's not just me. Like those people really do a lot and make it worth doing. And of course, all the listeners. If people just like hated the show, it wouldn't be worth doing. It wouldn't be much fun. So
then let's see what's coming in from the dungeon. Dungeon trials are being reincarnated with WotC. Ooh.
Why is my question, but yeah, if you remember, I don't understand this marketing strategy, but okay. If you remember back for the edition that shall not be named, they released 3 different packs of dungeon tiles. They were the wilderness tile, city tiles, and the dungeon tile.
Now, these are based on the tiles that were done for the miniature system?
No, they're based on the edition that should not be named tiles, which I guess you could say miniatures because you really needed miniatures to play that edition, but that's another subject. We won't go there. So they didn't really say much about this, so I don't know if this is just going to be like a direct reprint of those in just new packaging, or if they're changing them, or I don't know. All they said was they are full-color tiles with terrain and featuring dungeon rooms, corridors, caverns, tunnels, and other elements that you will need to spruce up your Dungeons & Dragons game. So, okay. They're coming out January 23rd. You can pre-order them now at your FLGS. They have an MSRP of $24.99 each. So they're reincarnating the dungeon tile. I don't get it because I don't use miniatures in my 5e games. So I apparently a lot of people do, and more power to you if you do. I just don't. Well, number one, it's just, I'll be honest, and it's a lot of work to have to, like, as a dungeon master, to have to, like, have all the miniatures ready that you're going to need, and then have all the tiles ready. But apparently there's a market for this, I guess, so they're coming out with these, but it's just really weird. I don't know. If I were WotC, I think I would have designed all new rather than just going back to the ones that they had a couple years ago, but maybe they're going to change them. I don't know.
We'll see. I know that back when I had a 3rd edition campaign, we did use miniatures all the way through there. We did not use tiles too often. Might have done it on occasion, but normally we had a mat and we had our adventures on the mat. The person who was hosting the game during the latter parts of the campaign, he had just about every single Dungeons & Dragons miniature you could think of whatsoever. If the DM said, I would need this, you'll just go, okay, let's go upstairs, get miniature, here it is.
Yeah,
no matter how weird it was.
That's just way too much work for me. Ninth Fun said, we could have a whole show on the failings of the D&D Voldermort edition.
Voldemort edition?
The one that shall not be named?
It's the edition.
Okay,
be named. Come on. Okay, of all pop references, you should have gotten that one, Pineleaf. Come on.
All right, yes, all right. Now I see, yes.
If you're not playing with miniatures, you should be. It's a lot more fun. I think you get a lot more feel for the tactics in combat with miniatures.
That I will give you, yes.
And you don't need to have like official miniatures and stuff. My campaign, we play with Lego miniatures.
It'll look like something out of irregular webcomic.
Yeah, matter of fact, it would, I think.
Actually, regular webcomics does do some of their lines with miniatures and some of them with Lego figures.
They're very customizable, too, which is great.
Let's see what's on the screen this week. New studio, Fantasy Flight Interactive, is announced. And does Fantasy Flight Interactive have anything to do with Fantasy Flight games?
Yes, it does. In Asmodee North America, who, of course, owns Fantasy Flight, Asmodee has a digital side of Asmodee that is doing, digital game conversions of board games to video games. So they're getting together and they're creating a whole new Fantasy Flight Interactive. And what was interesting about this announcement is they're not only going to, make digital versions of the Fantasy Flight games that have not been converted yet, but they're also going to make new games based on those properties, which I thought was interesting. So we're going to get tabletop conversions, and we're also going to get new games. So in theory, we could get maybe a new dungeon crawler game based off of Descent, but it wouldn't be, just a direct Descent version. It would be something totally new, or we might get Fury of Dracula. Or they haven't announced any titles yet. They did say they have stuff that is in the works already, and it will be available on Steam and other platforms to follow.
Well, Fury of Dracula would be out since Fantasy Flight no longer has the rights to that one. Right?
They still but they still have the rights to the third edition, is it? They can't create anything new. They can just reprint it.
Okay. And in fact, I had thought that a new game company is getting the license.
Yeah, somebody's trying. I don't know if they actually got it yet.
I thought I saw an announcement last week related to that.
I missed that announcement? Well, I'm going to go back and look at that.
Yeah, I had forgotten who that... I guess we'll have to look that up in order to find out exactly who that is. I forgot what company that was. But
anyway, look for new video tabletop games coming from the brand new studio Fantasy Flight Interactive.
Then let's head into Tales of Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation. There have been several updates to it since the original release. And last week I posted a video going through the updates that were through then, where they have had several improvements so that you could, for example, tell what the stats are to the monster you're facing and wanting to attack, which I think might be important. And this is also where they changed the rules on how you purchased items and did your crafting. So it was no longer a case where, yes, you could sink all this money to get a 99% chance and, the RNG doesn't like you?
Yeah, we don't know anybody that happened to.
Right. Actually, it's happened to both of us at least once. So
I didn't know it happened to you.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I'm done with this.
Chance that went down.
Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it?
So therefore, yes, I'm much happier that now it's higher than the base price for it, but less than the 99% price in order to get it, in order to do it, and it's a guaranteed work on that matter. There was also one since this video where they gave you a way so that you could tell what the line of sight is without committing yourself to an attack, which is thankful on that one. The reason why they have line of sight rules is they felt that in a video game the animations would be too unbelievable if you had all those animations in there and there were no line of sight rules. Apparently it interfered with how the animations worked, and that's why they put in line of sight rules, even though the board game does not have any. And here's breaking news that I found out after we started recording this, and that is that the Dresden Files cooperative game has been released on Steam.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I got a press release on this today and I didn't get a post up for it, so I'm glad you remembered. I was going to ask you if you knew this was out.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out tomorrow on Halloween, but apparently it was ready to go out today, so they released it today.
So something tells me there's a sneaking suspicion that we might see some videos from you on this soon.
I suspect that this is going to be the next game in which I may have a video or two relating.
I kind of figured.
Yeah, so therefore, now this is scheduled to be, it's $19.99 on Steam for base price, but until November 5th, I believe. It will be for $16.99 until November 6th for $16.99 for the opening sale that you have on there. And there are 4 DLCs that are available: Fan Favorites, Helping Hands, Warden's Attack, and Mouse Invariants. And there's also a bundle that includes all 4 of those. And if you want all 4 of them, then you do save a little bit by buying the bundle instead of buying the 4 packs individually. So something to keep in mind. And that is the Dresden Files cooperative card game, which is, of course, based on the board game by Plaid Hat Games. So let's head into our week in gaming. And Drac, what have you been up to?
I did a lot of Night Revels key farming, and then I started running the dungeons. I need to run a couple more of the dungeons, and then I will have enough to get the Red Reaper plate, which is what I was going for. I'm only like 2 shy of each ingredients or something like that, so I should be able to get it this week, so I'm happy for that because that's really all I wanted. I was going to try to maybe think about go for one of the daggers or something, but I thought, So I'm just going to get the Red Reaper plate because, red, I have to have it. And there's one funny thing I have to mention about this. I was playing with my friend, and I was on my 16 Rogue, and he was on his 17 Wizard. Those are the 2 that we run when we play together. And I could not figure out. I got into, I don't remember what dungeon it was, but I was dying a lot, and I'm like, why am I dying so much? I mean, I realize, because I'm not the best geared in the world, so that's fine. But I'm like, I shouldn't be dying this much. And so after like a couple deaths, we finished the dungeon, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the auction house and see what kind of gear and armor are, on the auction house, because I definitely need to upgrade. So I'm looking, and I found some armor, and I'm like, ooh, that's probably better than the armor I'm wearing. So I go to look to see what I'm wearing. Yeah. I didn't have any armor on at all.
You didn't have any armor on?
No, I didn't have any armor on or any boots. So I'm like, hey, that might be why I'm dying a little bit. So I have no idea why I had no armor and no boots on. I'm still can't figure that out. So because I had armor and boots in my inventory, but I don't know why I took them off at one point. So yeah, that was kind of a dough moment. I was like, what am I even doing with my life at this point when I'm running dungeons without... Because I couldn't figure out, because I'm like, okay, I should not be dying this much. I'm dying way too much. And lo and behold, after you put armor and boots on, you tend to die a little less. That's just a little hint. So I have now rectified that problem. And then the only other thing I did was 7 Days to Die. We did another round in our Permadeath Team Challenge. We are on day 8. We're at midday. We have determined that on day 10, we're going to turn the zombies on. So we had 10 days to, and that of course is in-game days, to get ready to build up our defenses, just make stuff we need, whatever. Because on day 10, Zeds are going to be running around. And then day 14, we'll have our first horde. So we'll see how it goes with having the actual zombies to contend with. Because right now, nobody's died so far. But, that's because the only thing that's going to kill you now is if you, starve to death, if you get too cold or too hot, or if you run into a boar or a wolf. So, it's still hard, but not quite as hard without zombies. So zombies are coming up in 2 days, so we'll see what happens. And I think we figured out probably what's going to happen is we're going to get, we normally play for 2 hours, so we're probably going to get halfway through our session, and then we're going to have to take the server down, turn the zombies on, turn it back up, and then we'll probably have, an hour to a half hour to contend with zombies and see what happens. So that will be interesting.
I'd like to point out that your team decided we weren't going to turn the zombies on until day 10.
No, it was a consensus.
No,
we took a vote, yes.
So day 10, whatever. Can we turn the zombies on now?
Whatever.
We're ready.
Whatever. You think it, whatever. See the smack talk that we, in our pre-game meeting, we have a call with everybody, and then we break into our teams. And this is the smack talk that we have to listen to.
Well, you guys don't have auto turrets ready to go yet?
We have auto turrets. We have mini bikes. We have everything. We're ready to go. Let's turn them on right now. Let's do it. Yeah, it's. And I'm telling you, I have mentioned this before. I kind of got burned out on 7 Days to Die, and this just have breathed new life into the game for me. It's so fun, and it's just great because the smack talk we get to do and stuff. So it's just fun. So I just think yeah, and then we're using a pack. There's a mod you can get for it that adds new point of interest, and it added I think like 20 something new buildings or whatever. And some of the buildings that it added are
I don't
amazing.
think I've found hardly any buildings that were there before. And I found a building the last session. Probably shouldn't tell you this, but it's okay. That had 16 safes in the top floor.
Oh my God, you're kidding me!
Nope.
Oh,
most of them were behind vault doors, but
well, of course. But yeah, it's just so much fun. So how about you, Pine Leaf? What were you up to?
All right. First off, to answer that thing, it was WizKids that they signed the new agreement with.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I should have got a press release on that then, and I don't remember getting a press release from WizKids on that. I'm going to have to look that up.
And maybe it was a rumor that some people accidentally overhyped.
I'll look that up and see
That's always a possibility.
Missed a press release from them.
Very well. Then let's head into my week in gaming then, which I hope is more accurate than what I just said. And that is that I start out with my Halfling Wizard, level 7, that I adventured with a Drac, and we began with some Night Revels where we hunted some keys, and the random number generator did not grant me any keys, but Drac got 2 of them, so we were able to go into the Resurrection Chamber, where despite the fact that I had a Feather Falling Cloak based on timing and all that stuff, and not understanding how the thing worked, and the fact that it's a temporary one, I managed to die anyway.
I was going to say, your problem was it wasn't like a true Feather Falling, it was the clicky Feather Falling Cloak.
And I've now ditched that cloak because now I have a Feather Falling spell which lasts a lot longer than that cloak does. So of course, it could be that whatever we do, we could say, oh, you have 1 minute and 20 seconds worth of Feather Falling? Oh, here's a drop that will take you about 3 minutes. I don't know how long it is. So I really don't understand the Resurrection Chamber all that much. And, well, I died there, and I figured, oh, we didn't have any clerics. I guess that means I released, and Drac had to do it alone because, well, I used up my key, which Drac gave me in the first place.
I just want to double-check something here, because you said you didn't get the keys, but Drac got both keys?
Yeah. I know, right? I wondered if anybody caught that. No. I wondered if anybody caught that. The RNG gave me 2 keys and Pine Leaf 0 keys.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody caught that. I was going to point that out, but I thought, well, just let it lie and see if anybody caught that little bit. So, yeah.
After that little fiasco, Drac actually managed to finish the dungeon alone, despite the fact that it was probably set for an extra player.
Yeah, it was a little dicey at the end, but yeah, I did manage to do it. So at least I got the ingredients. Pine Leaf didn't get any though. But I guess I didn't realize that's how that worked. I thought once you had entered the dungeon, it was unlocked for you. But it turns out, which I guess I never must have died in one of the dungeons and recalled out, if you want to come back in, you still need a key, even if your party is in the dungeon. Which is a weird mechanic to me, because you would think if your party is still in the dungeon and it's active, you could just re-enter it.
Oh, well.
So we learned something.
We learned something. Apparently there's a sign at the front is no re-entries allowed.
I guess not.
Then, after that little fiasco, at least fiasco on my side, we went into House Beneath and ran Bargain of Blood. So we had a little fun going after the general manager there. Then, for kicks, I just decided, let me create an Aasimar Artificer and head into the grotto just to see how that went. I know that's overly simple. So all I did was the opening instance. I really didn't do anything serious with that character. But it was just to create an Aasimar and see what they looked like.
Raise of hands who Shaq Pineleaf is doing Korthos. Nobody's just saying.
All right. And then on my Dragonborn Artificer, which is the character that I'm trying to level up to get ready for Ravenloft, I decided that I was getting close to level 6, and I was busy doing a lot of stuff with Lotro this week, so I didn't have much time for DDO, so I went in and let me get some quick XP. I went back into House Beneath and ran through the Depth series, got through all of them, just missed level 5, so I went to the Searing Heights and did some landscapes. I did about 2 tiers worth of Slayers and found a rare and killed the rare. I managed to kill a lair, do 2 tiers of this, and didn't get a single exploration deed. They really hide the exploration deeds in the Searing Heights, because when we went to the Searing Heights for the Bargain of Blood, we also were not able to run into any exploration points that I recall.
No, we didn't. We didn't get any rares either, which, RNG, so that doesn't shock me. But
yeah,
no, and it's been so long since I did Searing Heights, I don't remember where all of the explorer points are, actually. Yeah. I used to remember it because I used to run it a lot.
Then on tabletop, I received my copy of the Ruin of Thandar, which is the adventure pack for Hero Realms. This is so you could play. It's an adventure storyline to play co-op or solo, and it has 3 encounters in there. I ran through the first 2 encounters. I have it set for easy mode right now, and I barely scratched through those. They do say in there, and they warn you, that the rules as they are written down are on the assumption that you are a veteran player of the game. The idea there is they tuned it for the veteran players rather than for the people that the early people. But they did specify this is what you change for easy, this is what you change for medium. Standard is basically a hard mode, and then of course you have the nightmare one above that if you think that the standard mode is just too easy for you. Then
and while we're talking about tabletop, hey, hold on. While we're talking about tabletop, you were correct, Pineleaf. Nobody's shocked that you were correct. Back on October 19th, I actually did a post on this, and I just completely forgot I talked about this. I did get a press release on it, and yes, WizKids and Games Workshop are going to release games, and including in that is going to be a reprint of Fury of Dracula.
Okay, I knew I heard that from somewhere,
Yep.
and I know exactly where I heard it from. I heard it from you.
Apparently on DDOplayers.com, because I posted about it, and I completely forgot about it, so yeah. So there you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the professionals behind DDO Players.
Exactly, that's right. Yep.
And then on video, I was playing quite a bit of Lotro because I felt I wanted to start to seriously work on finishing up Mordor, making some good progress there. And while I was doing that, I found a way to get up a cliff without wings, and that is to have a friendly goblin around. And then in Minecraft, I started working on building a personal nether hub. So Patrick, what were you up to?
I got a little bit of DDO in. We had a pretty busy week with work and pretty hectic week, so I didn't play as much as I might normally, but did some, got a Shroud and a Reaper Tempest Spine in, except it was one of those Tempest Spine runs where he's throwing people off a lot and resetting a lot, so that was kind of aggravating. Did some 7 Days to Die, both on the permadeath group that Drac was talking about earlier. So that's kind of a fun thing. Although I'm ready for zombies. I'm game. But then we also have another server that we play on the same group, and we're gearing up to do a fun little project there because we want to see if we can take down a skyscraper. So
that's going to be amazingly fun. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. We're almost ready. I need to loot a skyscraper, and then we'll do that. Let's see. I also, back at DDO, I got a character that I actually kind of really invest in, ready to run DDO Splat tomorrow, so doing Night Revels, and I didn't want to lose. There's a great opportunity to get a lot of XP, so I got that ready to go. Then let's see. On the tabletop, I played with my pen and paper group, D&D, where I'm the DM. Let's see, what do they do? They finished their dungeon the last time, so they're going into kind of a side section to the dungeon, kind of an ancillary section, side quest kind of thing. And they started, I gave them a nice moral quandary where they were attacked by people who were mind-controlled. So they had to kind of figure out how to deal with that, which they did admirably well, actually. And then left them alone in the dark to go wander in other places after they freed them of mind control. But they decided not to go towards kind of the hint of what they're kind of investigating sort of a cabal of slavers. And they had an opportunity to go meet one of the kind of minds behind it, as it were, but they opted. They had no interest in dealing with mind control, and were just like, nope, going somewhere else. So they found a roper instead, and that's where we ended. So they're in trouble there.
All right, then. And here's an article on the tabletop that I found interesting, though Drac didn't include it in the show notes for some reason. And that is that Renegade Game Studios has announced Castelli. I mean, that's a rather strange thing to be turned into a board game, isn't it?
I was going to ask you about that, and yes, I did forget to see. Then again, the pros behind the show. I failed at my producing duties yet again. Yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought about that and how well that's going to work on tape, because that's just going to be weird.
Are we going to have these miniatures that we're going to have to stack up?
I guess we should probably explain exactly what Castelli is, because a lot of people probably have no idea what we're talking about.
It's a weirdness that you have in Catalonia, apparently. Essentially, think of it as building towers with people.
Yeah, it's a Catalonian tradition of you build human towers. Huge teams of people from all over Catalonia will gather at festivals to celebrate the Catalonian culture and compete to build the highest human tower. And this is going to be a strategy game where players will guide Castile teams through a year of festivals. So yeah, strange, but okay.
And I noticed that the little tag at the top, Forza Equilibrio Valor, and of course, Acquire y Sene. In other words, doing it in Catalan, right at the top.
Yeah. And it's for 2 to 4 players. They say it plays in about 90 minutes, and it's $60 MSRP coming out next year. So there you go. If you wanted to run the human tower building circuit, you can now do that.
That's one of the stranger games I've seen coming up. We currently have 23 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of DDO Players News. This week, we have an email from James. And what does James say?
He says, "Hi, Pine and Drac. As always, loving your podcast, so thank you for that. A while back, I was looking for a guild and happened upon Tyrer's Palladium on Galanda. They seemed active and friendly. I applied and was accepted. So I actually transferred my characters to that server out of Orion because I couldn't find a guild on Orion to join. The people in Tyrer's Palladium and the Galanda server have been quite nice, but it seems like everyone is playing well beyond my play/skill level. Listening to the two of you, it sounds like you may be playing in circles that I would fit into a little better. I play everything on normal, and I don't even have any characters who have TR'd yet, even though I've been a DDO player on and off for many years.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds exactly like Pine and I. If I could be sure to find a server and a guild with more players like me, I would actually consider paying again to move my characters. It really sucks that you have to pay to move around just to find the right folks to hang with. But on Galanda, I just can never seem to find any pug or guild group that runs anything on normal. Hoping this time I'm looking in the right place for the right advice. Thanks, James. So if anybody out there knows of a good server, a good fit, a good guild, somewhere that James would probably fit in, let us know. and I'll be sure to pass it on to him because I have his email address, so I will pass it on to him. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. Patrick, do you have any suggestions maybe on a server?
You might have to look a little harder on some servers than others, but a lot of players, don't feel bad about not being able to play up to their level. Most people don't, unless they're running like 2% of content, they're probably not going to worry about it too much. You're probably more concerned about it than they are.
And we also have a letter from Hephaestus, who wrote in, "Hey, DDO players, Hephaestus here. First, love your show. Sorry, I've never gotten to emailing you before, but Track and Pineleaf, you guys do a great job, and I love having your show on my podcast rotation. I really enjoyed your interview show with Sip from Massively OP, but was very disheartened to hear about his guild finding and players' trouble on Galana. I am a senior officer on the smaller-sized guild Spellforce on Galana and would have been more than happy to have Sip join our small rank of members. That said, I am with you on the fact that Galana is kind of being shadowed by a few really big, yet maybe hardcore guilds that are not perhaps always super friendly to returning or new players. On behalf of Galanians, I apologize for you, but never fear. There are still friendly guilds if you hang around long enough to see them. I hope Sip is having a great time playing DDO again, though still, I will have you check out the Battle Bards now. Go Artificers. All right, that's always tricky.
I like that. Go Artificers.
Go Artificers.
Pineleaf, you're all excited about that. You're like, yeah, go Artificers.
Yeah, or maybe I should say instead, go Artificers.
There you go. And yes, do check out Battle Bards. That is an amazing podcast, especially if you love video game music.
Right. So therefore, it looks like that there are still potential groups you can find perhaps on Galana then.
I kind of sensed a theme in the emails we got this week.
All right. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter, The Players Alliance @PlayersAllied, DDO Players @DDO Players, Dracula @Dracula_72, and Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles. And you can just follow our guest, Patrick, at DDOcast and DDOcast.com. We have 2 live shows every single week, Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have a Locha Players News. That is all for tonight, and you can join our live shows at DDO Players, and I wish to remind you all, please quest responsibly.